So now we have a front-end project ready in Angular, and we could just go nuts and start coding the socket.io part that you want to see. But I kind of want to prepare myself a little bit for the future. So instead of just coding, I'm going to start out by building a module that can take care of the chat part of my application, because I want this application to grow later on and have other areas besides the chat part. So instead of just going and coding components now, I'm going to just start by creating a small module, just like we did in the backend. And again, if you guys remember, in the backend, I actually went in and created the chat module to the backend with the chat gateway. And that's again because we're going to add more to this module as well as we move forward. But let's jump back to Angular. This is my Angular code, and I want in here to start creating the first module. Now, I know how to do that in Angular. There's a CLI command for it. So you can write ng generate, and you can write module because you want to generate a module right here. And I want to add a few things because I actually want the module to be a routing module, just like the one we have right here, so that we have a chat routing module. So let's try and see how we do that, and also explain what it actually does for us. So I'm back in Angular IO. I go to Documents, and I go down here to References, Conceptual References, and here there's something about ng modules. And the one I'm interested in right now is what we call feature modules right here. Oops, I think it's this guy. There we go, feature modules. So if I go and read about this, there's actually ways for us to start generating modules in our code base. And again, a module should be a specific feature that we want to kind of cover different things for. Maybe it's full CRUD for a product. I would like to create a product module to take care of all those different features inside that module. Now I'm actually looking for something very specific because I'm actually interested in how we can lazy load our modules with an Angular router, so that we can get lazy loading into our system, meaning that we don't have to get all the code the first time we open the page. Now there's something about it right here about how we do lazy loading, and that's the one we want to follow. Here it is. I want to add a new module right here called, in my case, chat. I'm going to add the route right away, and then I'm actually going to also ask it to add the routing to the module inside app module. So let's have a look at what all this does for me. Let's jump back to the Angular code right here, and let's just paste this in. So notice again, it says ng generate. If you don't want to write generate, you don't have to. You can just write g, just like you saw in my previous code. And then I want to generate a module. I want to call my module chat. That's the name of the module. So let's just call it chat module. I wanted to generate a route for chat. And that pretty much means that when I go to, in my case, I want to go to /chats and go to the chat module. So I'm actually not going to write customers here. I'm going to write chats to explain that's where I want to go. And then the final thing is, I want to kind of open this up and add it to the app module, which is again the main module. And again, if we kind of talk about the old setup we did for the backend, it also had an app module because again, Jest for the backend and Angular for the front end have a lot of similarities when we talk about the code. So let's try and execute this and see what we get. It's going to generate a couple of files for me. It's actually going to create a new folder right here on the chat. And there it's going to generate my first component. It's going to generate a chat module right here that uses that component. And it's going to add a routing module right here that can kind of explain to me what should happen if I go to the route of root. But notice it's the root of the chat module. If I go to this routing, you notice that one has been updated. You'll notice that it says that if you go to the route of chats, then you'll actually be redirected to the chat module. Now, if this doesn't quite make sense yet, just ignore it for now. We'll get more into this later on, but this is how simple it is for me to kind of explain to Angular that when I go to the chats path in my URL in the code, then I want to be redirected to the chats module right here. And when I get to that module, I'll go to the root, and that root will actually show me the chat component. So let's just go to the chat component. And again, if you haven't tried Angular before, just believe me, I'm just going to write an h1 right here saying hello world, like this. And then let's see if we actually go to that route when we switch the route now. Now, in order to start an Angular app, you write ng-serve and you give it a couple of seconds. So let's just write it in lowercase, then it'll be happier. There we go. It seems my app is now running on localhost 4200. I'll click the link and notice my backend is running on localhost 3000, so a different port. And that's why they can run on this at the same time right here. But what I did was I made it so that when I go to chats right here, I should be redirected to another link right here. And notice here it says hello world chat. But notice all this noise is still there. So let's just get rid of this as the final thing right here. So I'll jump into the app component HTML and I'll just get rid of all of this noise except for the route outlet all the way down here in the bottom. That's the only thing I need. All the other is just stuff I can remove for now. And let's just try and see this running right here. So now it says hello world chats. And if I again go to the root, you'll notice hello world goes away because now I'm not in the chats link anymore. So that's how we do it. And now the really cool thing that we'll dive more into later is actually when I load the page right here, if I go to the root, it won't load anything except the stuff that I can see on the current page. So I kind of have what we call lazy loading set up already. And I know that's not something we need right now, but I just wanted to kind of prepare myself for that. So let's end the lesson. Now we have the new chat module available right here, and we can start working with that chat module and start adding some input fields and stuff like that so we can send some messages. See you next time. Bye.